The CELPIP writing has two parts. There is writing an email and a survey part. So I'm going to focus on writing an email. And this format or this way of writing, you can also use writing in emails outside as well. So this is actually really good information for you to know, even though the CELPIP, it's a test and nobody likes taking English tests. But I think in this part of the CELPIP, it's actually really good because it teaches you how to write properly, which is great. You can always have that in your life. So I don't know on the test what kind of situation and what kind of letter they're going to be asking you. I can only teach you the way to write and give you an understanding that when you have the test and when you're looking at it and when you have the question, that you can just put all the information that I've taught you into that kind of a writing email. So let's look at the first part, and this is just an example of a formal letter. So a formal letter is, of course, to a manager or to someone that you want, it's not your friend, that you want to show a little bit of respect when you're writing. So we're going to do an example, and don't worry, we're going to do a few examples. So just in case, if you get a formal letter, and so this is the situation, you have been going to a sports club. And recently, there are some problems with the club. Write a letter to the club and mention the problems and make some suggestions. So you only have 25 minutes to write, and it's 150 to 200 words, which don't worry about too much about the words. If you follow the way to write, usually you'll have about 150 to 200 words. So the most important thing is time limit, 25 minutes to write a letter and 25 minutes for the other task, which is the survey. Let's look at this situation. You're at a sports club and think of some ideas. It's really hard actually to kind of in the moment to think of what should you write, but be creative. This is a test and not real life, so open your mind. What are some things that you have had experienced and problems with in a sports club? So think about that. Now, before I start, and just for this purpose, I want you to think of some ideas, and I'm going to give you my ideas, but also think about your ideas at the same time. So my problem that I thought about when I go to a sports club is maybe the equipment doesn't work, or maybe your membership has expired because you forgot to pay and then it won't extend. So those are some things that I thought of. You can think of your own ideas. And then you have to do a problem and make a suggestion. So the suggestion, just maybe create some ideas. Maybe the equipment needs to be fixed and you need to buy new equipment and you want to change the payment plan for automatic withdrawal. I don't know what situation you're gonna have. The only thing that I can tell you is just to be creative and to open your mind and think, what can happen in a sports club? What can happen at a school that you have to complain to? Or what can happen to a company? And whatever situation that you have, just think of the ideas and be creative and what you want to write about. They're not checking on your creativity, they're checking of how you express your idea into English. In the very beginning of a letter, we want to have a salutation. It's the very same thing as when I see you on the street and I say, "Hi, how are you, Jane?" And so we want to have that type of a salutation in the beginning of a letter. And I'm sure you know that just from being in life. So in this situation, we want to start with, "Dear sports club staff." Now, some people will say, well, what about dear sir or madam or something like that? When you have a connection with the sports club staff, so when you say dear sports club staff, it kind of gives you that connection. It's the same thing when you're writing outside. Usually you know the person's name, but if you don't know someone's name and if they say dear teacher, then it's a lot better than if I get a letter to say dear sir or madam. Well, I don't really connect to dear sir or madam, but I do connect to dear teacher. And of course, if you know Jane, dear teacher Jane, amazing. But in this situation, it's dear sports club staff. It could be anything you want. And capitalize the letter S, C, and then S again. So dear sports club staff, and then comma. And then that salutation of trust this finds you well. Usually we say, "Hi, how are you?" But how are you is kind of an empty question when you write something, because I can't answer that. Instead of "Hi, how are you?" try to memorize just these expressions that actually should be in your mind. So, dear sports club staff, trust this finds you well, or trust this email finds you well, or I hope this finds you well, or I hope this email finds you well. Whatever you want, whatever that feels comfortable for you, just kind of memorize that and use it when you're writing. So, dear sports club staff, trust this finds you well. And so the next part is what we call kind of the body of the letter. And I always kind of use a sandwich. So first in the beginning, you want to kind of have a little bit of that fluff, that factual information. Just kind of like a hamburger. You have this bun and it's soft and it's fluffy and it's white and it's not a heavy bread. It's just factual information. So start with the facts, which is your introduction. And what are the facts here? Well, recently, I've been going to your sports club during the week. That's a fact. It's nothing negative. It's not your club is terrible, I hate your club, or you shouldn't say anything in the beginning that's negative. We want to be nice. We're Canadian, we're polite. So we want to start with the factual information of I've been going to your sports club during the week. I have been a member at the club for 3 months. That's also a fact. You could say you've been going to this club for 3 months and also you're glad to have the opportunity to exercise by staying healthy and fit in your club. It doesn't matter if it's a club or if it's not a club. Anything that you find that is the situation that you're around, and I'm not saying about complimenting, like, I love your club. This has been the best club that I've ever been to in my whole world. I'm not saying about compliments, just the situation around it. And that's how we start the letter. So recently I've been going to your sports club during the week. I've been a member at the club for 3 months. I'm glad to have the opportunity to exercise by staying healthy and fit in your club. Now, the next part of the sandwich is the meat, which is the problem. So now we've got that fluffy bread, and now we've got the meat. What is the problem? What is the situation? What is it that you don't like? Now you can kind of start going into your ideas. And that's how we kind of communicate. We always start with a little bit of the good and then the bad. And then we talk about the solution and what is it that you want to happen. So what is the problem? The problem is, and we already brainstormed about it before, is the equipment that needs to be fixed and also the payment plan. The topic or the way to start the paragraph is always good kind of to memorize, because sometimes it's really hard to start that paragraph, to start what do you say? How do you express it? So in this situation, I'm giving you an expression that you can start. I'm writing in regards to. You could just memorize that. The same way that you say, dear sports club staff, you've memorized that. Trust this finds you well, you've memorized that. And now we want to start with a problem, and you could just memorize that sentence. I'm writing in regards to. Great. What are you writing in regards to? I'm writing in regards to the equipment in the gym. And that's your opening. So I'm writing in regards to the equipment in the gym. And now you want to go into details. What is the problem? What's happening? So when I go to use the equipment, it doesn't work well. That's the detail. Now you want to give more information. What's happening here? Now, there's also connecting words that you can use. For example gives you a little bit of that area to open up, that it can open up your creativity, and you can actually tell me an example. You need 150 and 200 words. So you can give me some example of the situation that happened. You don't have to if you have lots of ideas, but it's always good to kind of keep focus and let the person know that you want to give them a situation. So also you can memorize that. For example, the other day, I was using the treadmill and the screen didn't turn on. So it was frustrating. Now talk about your feelings. This is your meat. You could talk about your feelings. You can say how you didn't like that. You were really frustrated. I really don't like your gym. Let the emotions out in the middle. So it was frustrating. And why was it frustrating? Because I wanted to calculate my calories, which I was burning. And now we want to do a little bit more details. We want to do connecting furthermore. So you see how you've got a little bit of these little words that you can remember, that you can give more information without stopping and thinking, what should I write? What should I write? It will actually kind of carry on the idea. So then we go into furthermore. Furthermore, my membership has expired. And why? Go into because. When you go into because, it actually shows a deeper level of your language. Because when you say a simple sentence and you go into a because, you have to really use your language ability to explain why is it happening. So when something is happening, you need more vocabulary words to explain the because part. So furthermore, my membership has expired because I forgot to pay and no one contacted me. So again, that kind of connecting word. So I can't go to the sports club even though I was planning to extend my membership. Okay, so here I wrote, when writing your details, use connecting words to explain your ideas. Because, also, furthermore, moreover, for example, open your mind and explain everything. You've studied English for a long time. You communicate already outside in life. So this is just something that you can take an idea and write it out onto paper. And so the next part is, now that we've finished with saying the problem of what is happening at the sports club that you're going to, and then the next part after the meat is the other part of the bread, which is the sandwich. Now, if you look at a hamburger, the first part is kind of fluffy and it's round and it has some factual information. And then you've got the meat. And then the other part is kind of like more thinner, but it's just really telling, what do you want for the solution and the problem? What do you want and how do you want the problem to be fixed? And what kind of solution do you want for it? And that's what it's asking you in this. It says mention the problem and make suggestions. The bottom part of your sandwich is your suggestion. What do you want to do to solve the situation? Just like we start with a little bit of that beginning, I'm writing in regards to, the same thing with the other part of the sandwich with the bread, and we can use I'm wondering if you can. And when you start with I'm wondering if you can, you are giving the suggestions. You're solving the problem with I'm wondering if you can, and then doing something. And that's what you can memorize as well. So I'm wondering if you can look into some repairs of the equipment at our sports club, because, see, again, it goes into this because everyone can enjoy using the equipment with a peace of mind, knowing that nothing will go wrong. These are just kind of ideas. You have different ideas, but whatever you want to say and explain of what to do. Or perhaps, and I really kind of like this word, and this is why I kind of underline it, and it's always good to give a couple of suggestions. Or perhaps, not you have to do this. You know, some of my learners, they go into this aggressive, like you have to do this and you have to fix this. English is a very soft language, especially in Canada. So we want to always have these and perhaps, and I'm wondering, I'd like to suggest. It's the same thing when you go into writing, or perhaps look into buying some new equipment instead of making the repairs. So again, we've got, I'm wondering if you can look into some repairs of the equipment at our sports club, because everyone can enjoy using the equipment with a peace of mind, knowing that nothing will go wrong. Or perhaps look into buying some new equipment instead of making the repairs. Also, again, your connecting word. Also, I'd like to suggest, if it's possible, and again, a little key phrase that you can actually memorize, that you can use when you're writing. And it's soft and it's nice. And again, it's at the end of your email. I'd like to suggest, if it's possible, to change our payment option to have an automatic withdrawal, because everyone can be in a situation to forget to pay, which can interrupt their membership. So if it's automatic withdrawal from our account, it will be very convenient to extend our membership. Now, those are just my ideas and an example of that. You can create anything else, but if you can kind of have those connecting words, when you have 25 minutes, you can clearly write it in a very fluent way because you already know what to write. Now that we finished the sandwich, and this is it, and now is just to close off. So the same thing as when you do a greeting and a salutation. Hi, how are you? Dear Sports Club staff, trust us finds you well. The ending has to be kind of a reflection, so it could just be a balance. Closing off, and you can again memorize this. I use this all the time in my emails. Your attention in this matter is greatly appreciated. I always try to appreciate the person that is reading my emails and also listening to my suggestions. So your attention in this matter is greatly appreciated. Please don't hesitate to contact me if you have any further questions or concerns. And I'm sure that you see this all the time in letters when you get it. Please don't hesitate to contact me if you have any further questions or concerns. It sounds professional and it sounds very formal because this is a formal situation. You're writing to the club staff. And also there are some other expressions. Please feel free to contact me if you have any further questions. You can also use it whatever feels natural for you to memorize. Probably you're already using these expressions. Whatever you're using is great as long as it just kind of has a little bit of that closing off, the same thing as trust this finds you well, and you just want to finish it off with if you have any questions, please feel free to call me anytime. And then sincerely, Jane Smith. So that's it. That's the first part of the letter. This is a formal letter. Now that we finished one formal letter, let's go with another example and try to think of what you're going to say before I say it. So let's kind of just practice a sandwich of what we just went through the format, because moreover, think of your ideas. Think of what you would say if you're writing this letter. In this situation, it's also a formal letter, and the situation is you live in an apartment near a building site. Recently, the construction workers have begun working on the site from early every morning and continuing until late in the evening. Their work disturbs you because it makes a lot of noise. That's your situation, and then the test will give you the ideas of what to write. This is really important. It says write an email to the owner, and it gives you 3 things to write about, which you have to cover in the letter. The first thing is give information about where you live. So of course, that's the first paragraph, the facts. Give information where you live. Describe the problem and how it affects you. Already the problem, that's your meat. And now say how you think the owner could resolve the issue. Now on the test, I don't know if everything is going to be so perfectly given to you with the first point and the second point and the third point. Sometimes they will tell you to describe the problem and then give information about where you live. Whatever it is, just know in your mind that the sandwich is facts, problem, solution, and just try to put that into your mind. You are going to write a letter. It's to the owner of this company that there's construction and you really need them to be quiet. Let's think of what are some ideas, and you can actually just write it down. It's good exercise for you to just write down what are some things that I can write to this construction owner and let them know that this noise is a huge problem in your daily life. Think about it, okay? And while you're thinking, I'm also going to give you some of my suggestions. I thought of at home. I'm at home. I guess nowadays we are home working. At home working, and noise affects your work day. So that's what I thought, that I'm at home and this really affects my work day. And the lack of having a comfortable environment at home really disturbs the rest of your evenings, especially with your sleep. That's my idea. Some of my learners will talk about their family, or they're talking about their crying babies, or whatever you want. You have the life experience to create some idea in your mind of what you can say. Again, this is just general English level test. This is not brain surgery. You're not going to be a doctor. This is just simple English for immigration. That's it. And the next thing is your solution. So now that you are at home and you're working and this noise affects you, what are the solutions that you want for this construction company? And it's a little hard. Like, what do you tell the construction company? There are no wrong answers here. It doesn't matter if you tell the owner to move their construction company to Mars or Pluto. It doesn't matter of your ideas. No one's checking your ideas. They're just checking of how you communicate your ideas using English. How do we start this letter? So, dear company owner, remember we talked about company and then we don't know their name. If we know the name, then dear John Smith or dear John Doe or whatever you want, but we don't know their name. So, dear company owner, and I put trust this finds you well. And then we have the factual information. Well, what's the factual information that you have here? I wrote that I'm a resident at 1234 Davie Street in Vancouver, where I have been living for many years. That's my fact. Your factual information can be different. You have a different address, whatever you want to say. Now, give me a little bit more information, because we don't want the bread to be, I know my hamburger, I like to have a little bit of bread. Like I want to have that thick bread. I don't want like that thin diet bread. So we want to put a little bit more information into the facts. My apartment windows face directly to your construction site. And as you know, the construction has been going on for several weeks. I also kind of wrote like, as you know, also a good expression to use, but you can say whatever you want. My apartment windows face directly to your construction site, and the construction has been going on for several weeks. You can also say that. There are many different ways to express the factual information, as long as it's not negative, as long as it has nothing to do with, this is terrible, I can't handle this noise anymore, you're giving me lots of problems. No, this is just the bread, the facts. Now, what's the next part? The meat. And how do we start the meat? We start with, I'm writing in regards to. And what are you writing in regards to? You're writing about the noise. That's your problem. I'm writing in regards to the noise level early in the morning until late in the evening, which I have been experiencing during this period of construction. So now you want to give a little bit of details that you talked about the noise level, and then give a little bit more ideas. I work from home and need to focus on my daily tasks for my livelihood. However, with this constant noise, it has been very hard to concentrate on my tasks. That's something that I wrote, but again, you can switch it up. You can say that every morning, my child that sleeps at night wakes up in the morning, and this child I need to always calm down because there's so much noise outside. Whatever you want to say, just express that idea, the detail idea, into your writing. And you want to give a little bit more information. Furthermore, the construction noise has disturbed my sleep at night because, again, you get that because, the lack of comfort in my apartment during the day has affected my night. I just want to let you know that if I do a word count, this is 213 words. So this is what 213 words looks like. You have 25 minutes. It's 150 to 200 words. You don't need to do a furthermore if you don't want to. If you want to limit that and keep it, if I take that sentence out, it'll still be 180 to 200 words, which is more than enough. So you don't need the furthermore. I just wanted to show you that if you want to extend your idea and if you want to share something more, put in that furthermore and then the construction noise, and then give another idea of what it is. Good. So now that we have the meat part, which is finished, you talked about the problem of how it's terrible to work at home and how it disturbs your sleep. Then the next part is the solution. What do you want to see happening? I'm wondering if your company can strictly enforce the work hours of construction to start from 9 a.m. instead of 7:30 a.m. and complete your workday no later than 5 p.m. Okay, that's my idea. Whatever idea that you want. I'm wondering if you can take your company and transfer it over to Pluto and Mars, and please don't bring the construction company that is happening in front of my windows. Whatever you want to say, just give them that idea. There's no right or wrong answers. And I want to give another idea. Also, I'd like to suggest, if possible, and again, that expression also, I'd like to suggest, if possible, to use certain equipment at one time and not to have all of the noisy construction equipment working at the same time. So whatever idea that you have, you can write it down. And that's my problem and solution. And so the next part is the closing. And what do we do when we close it? Again, just memorize this. Your attention into this matter is greatly appreciated. Please don't hesitate to contact me if you have any further questions or concern. And that's it. Sincerely, Jane Doe. This is 25 minutes. You should have plenty of time to write it down, especially when you practice. I will be sending you some exercises to do on your own. When you're following me, it sounds easy, and hopefully now you've created your own ideas and what to say. But I will be giving you some exercises, and then you can do it on your own. Follow this type of a format and put your ideas into it, or whatever you think is best, using some of the expressions here. Now, I don't know if you're going to have a formal letter or if you're going to have an informal letter, so I'm going to prepare you for both. It's sometimes they will ask you to write a letter to the owner, to the manager, but sometimes they'll ask you to write a letter to a friend. And I don't know which question you will have, and because I don't know, I want to teach you for both ways. Let's do the informal letter. So again, I don't know what kind of situation you're going to get. This will be one of the situations for the letter. So you will know both. You will know how to write. And it's actually very similar, but I don't want you to get surprised when you see something that it's just writing to a friend, not to a manager. And I want you to feel comfortable and confident when you're taking the test. That's actually my goal, is to take you into this box that's set up, that you are familiar with the situation. So when you're running this race, and I'm just kind of showing you and training you to get that gold medal, and to get the best score possible. Task 1, informal letter, and this is the situation. You are going to another country to study. You would like to do a part-time job while you are studying, so you want to ask your friend who lives there for some help. Now it's just a friend. You're going to another country and you want to ask for them to give you a hand with your study plans. And it's asking you, in this, it says write a letter, so it's giving you the directions and the instructions. Write a letter to a friend, and in your letter, give details of your study plans and explain why you want to get a part-time job. So the salutation's still the same. We're still going straight into that sandwich. It's still the same. It's just a little bit more casual. Now we don't say, hi, how are you? You're like, hey, what's up? What's going on? It's a little more casual. This is your friend. And you want to start with a salutation. Hello, Jennifer. Hope all is well. Again, don't go into this, what's up? What's going on? Yo, man. Let's just go into hello, Jennifer. I guess some people also write, hey Jane, hey Jennifer. You can do that. Anyways, just for this letter, just for the test, it can be proper. Hello, Jennifer. Hope all is well. Or hope your day is going well. Usually when I write a letter to a friend, I always say, hope everything is going well with you, or hope you had a great weekend, something to break that ice. So hello, Jennifer. Hope you had a great weekend. Great. Finished. Now you want to go to the facts. Well, what are the facts? You're going to another country to study. Okay, that is the fact of the situation. And you are asking your friend that lives there, you're talking to her wherever she lives. She lives in Vancouver, she lives in London, she lives in England. You are going to the same place of where your friend is going to be. Let's go into the facts. It's been a while since we spoke. Okay, that could be a fact, that could be a situation. I have been busy organizing and planning my studies in London, England. We briefly talked about my plans to do a one-year transfer program, and it's finally coming true. I'm so excited to head your way and hopefully have a chance to hang out and spend some quality time touring around this beautiful country. Whatever idea that you have, you can write anything that comes into your mind. Hello, Jennifer. Hope you had a great weekend. I'm so excited to see you and spend time in London. We're going to have a fabulous time when I come there. I've been dreaming about going, and now we will be together, spending time and hanging out. Whatever you want to say, as long as it's facts. It's nothing compliment. You're wonderful, you're my favorite friend, but just factual information about the situation. And now, what is the purpose? Now, there's no problem. You're actually just asking her for a favor, right? You want to explain why you want to get a part-time job. You want to explain the details of your study plans, and give details of your study plans would be kind of like the main idea of what you want to do. So let's start without doing I'm writing in regards to, which is the formal side. Now we want to just be a little bit more casual with I wanted to reach out. That's something that you can kind of memorize in a casual situation. I wanted to reach out and ask you if you can do this. I wanted to reach out, and then give your situation. So I wanted to reach out and ask for a huge favor. As you know, I'll be a full-time student for next year, trying to focus on my studies, but at the same time, being a student, I will be on a very tight budget. I was considering getting a part-time job to give some stability, not only with paying the bills, but also to have some extra cash to travel around. I don't have many connections in the area, and I wanted to ask if it would be possible to give me a hand with my search for part-time employment. This is my idea. You can explain it in different ways. You want to give details of your study plans. Well, I wanted to reach out and let you know that I'm going to be coming to to London, and my plan is to study for 4 years at the university that's really close by in the area. And as you know, and you've got that connection words, and as you know, it's going to be really difficult to pay the bills, and I would love to get a part-time job. You could say whatever it is, but that's really kind of like your main purpose and your main idea to reach out to her. That is the meat of the situation. It's not a complaint. It's just the situation of what you want in London, in England, in Vancouver to describe your idea. And that is the main focus. And the third part is, again, this sandwich that we've created. So we've got the ending. What is it that you want to say? Well, you don't want to give any solutions and there's really no problem. You just want to request. And because it's your friend, you can use an expression such as, let me know if you have anything in mind or hear of any places hiring around the area. Let me know if you can give me a hand and looking for a job. Let me know if you have time to go with me and go around the city because I really need a part-time job. Whatever you want to say, it's just a little bit of that expression, let me know if something. And instead of your attention into this matter is greatly appreciated, which is very formal, you could just say, I would truly appreciate your help in this, or I really appreciate your help in this, and look forward to some great adventures, or looking forward to seeing you real soon. So we can just finish that off instead of, please feel free to contact me if you have any questions or concerns. It's a little bit more casual. I would truly appreciate it. I'd appreciate your help. And you could even say, look forward to seeing you real soon. Catch you later. Peace out. Maybe not, but something like that. It's your friend and you're just closing it off. And then see you real soon instead of sincerely, see you real soon, Jane Smith. And that whole letter was about 180 words. So that is the informal letter. And I'm going to email you some exercises that you can do on your own. And you can kind of take that sandwich and put your own information in it and see how well you do with it. But really try to memorize some expressions that will help you in your writing process. Sometimes you will get a situation in the formal letter that it's not a complaint. It doesn't have that problem. And let's take a look at the situation. Again, it's the same idea. You still have that sandwich and you still start with the introduction, but just the main purpose and your meat part is not spicy. It's just maybe some information. So when you have a problem, it's kind of like that spicy, but in some situations you might get, there's no problem, is just to express your ideas. Let's look at this. You're a manager at a company. One of your employees has excellent ideas and works hard. However, this person is thinking about quitting work in order to go back to university. There is no problem here. You don't have to do a solution, but this person is thinking about quitting work in order to go back to university, and you're the manager at the company and you want to write them an email. So it still has to be formal in some ways, and you want to share your ideas. And so CELPIP tells you what to write. You don't have to really think too much and create too much because it actually tells you what to write. Say why you think this person is a good worker. Well, already in your mind, you should be thinking, okay, that should be my first paragraph. Say why you think this person is a good worker sounds pretty positive. Now describe some of the disadvantages of quitting work to attend university and mention some benefits of continuing to work at the company. That really is your meat in this situation. You know that at the second paragraph, you're going to be writing about why there are disadvantages of quitting work and what are some benefits to work at this company. And then of course your conclusion, and now you don't have to go into I'm wondering because there's no problem, there's no solution. Then we can just kind of keep that piece of bread nice and simple and soft. So let's go through this. Dear Mary, now we know your employee. Create whatever you want. Dear Jane, dear Mary, dear Phil. Dear Mary, we don't have to go into dear company owner, we could just use the name. Trust this finds you well. So dear Mary, trust this finds you well. And this is a little bit of that introduction, a little bit of that sentence that you can start. You could start with recently. As you know, just a little bit of that, of those sentences that you can start with in your paragraph. As you know, we have been working together for many years. You have always been an excellent worker who comes on time. It actually says that you're a good worker. So instead of good worker, try to change and show your vocabulary. You've been studying English for a long time. There's words that you know that's different than good, bad, happy, sad, kind, and nice. Those are all basic kids' vocabularies. Try, if you can, to practice some vocabularies. Good, excellent, wonderful, bad, negative, maybe generous, maybe accommodating. Whatever it is, try to use different words if you can. If not, then don't worry about it. As you know, we've been working together for many years, and you have always been an excellent worker. That's perfect. You're a great worker who comes on time. And why are they an excellent worker? Describe why they're an excellent worker. Well, you come on time, you're reliable, and you always have wonderful ideas to solve any issues in our company. It has truly been a pleasure having you on our team. That's something that you can say. You don't have to say it. You can say it's really great to work with you. And then the second part is the body of yours. So now it's the meat, but the meat is now describe the disadvantages and also the benefits of continuing to work. So you have your ideas. You can write down, be open, create, just write down some sentences and think of what are the disadvantages of quitting work and attending university? And what are some benefits of staying at the company? So this is an example of something that you can say. Recently, it has come to my attention. This is a little bit of that expression. You don't have to use it, but it's always nice to say recently it has come to my attention because someone has told you. You don't want to say I heard or someone told me. It means that maybe someone is gossiping around about you, and we don't want that. But if we have a business expression, and this is a business expression, say it has come to my attention. Not someone told me, not someone gave me some ideas, but just recently it has come to my attention. Recently it has come to my attention that you are considering of quitting work in order to go back to university. And now give a little bit of these details. Not having a job while going to university can put you in a tough financial situation where it will be difficult to afford a lifestyle that you can enjoy. Okay, this is just my idea, but again, describe the disadvantage of quitting work. My idea was that if she quits or if he quits, then it will really be difficult to afford a lifestyle that they can enjoy. So that's why don't go to university. Stay and keep working. Sometimes the ideas are a little bit tough to come up with, but just be creative. The next sentence can be on the other hand. On the other hand, if you continue working and now you want to go into the benefits of staying at this company. So you talked about that this could become a disadvantage with your decision, and really use those words. It actually asks you describe some of the disadvantages of quitting work to attend university. Really kind of use that same language, that disadvantage. Use that when you're explaining your ideas. That going to university could put you in a tough financial situation where it will be difficult to afford a lifestyle that you can enjoy. This could become a disadvantage with your decision. If you see some words that you can use, then definitely use it in the writing. On the other hand, if you continue working at our company, I would like to offer a promotion with a salary increase because, go into the details, because you are a valuable employee to our company and I do not want to see you leave. So it's the same idea as the other letters. You just want to give that detailed information. Use your because, use your also, and however. On the other hand is also to describe something that's negative, to express your mind. And the closing off is exactly the same, except we don't want to say, please let me know if you have any questions or concerns, and to be formal, and just to say that I hope you can take my idea into consideration, which is also a business expression that you can use. So instead of saying and solving the problem, in this situation, you're not solving the problem, you're just giving your ideas, you're giving your suggestions, and then you can say, I hope you can take my ideas into consideration. I hope you can take my suggestions into consideration. I hope you can take what I mentioned into consideration, which is professional, and give them some thought. And I just kind of added that. I hope you can take my ideas into consideration and give them some thought. Please feel free to contact me if you have any questions or concerns. So you still have a little bit of that formal, but to give it that idea that I hope that you'll think about it, and always to feel free to contact me. And then sincerely, Jack Black. And so this is also a formal letter, but not a complaint, just to give you ideas, but it's the same sandwich. It's the same 3 kind of paragraphs with the bread, the meat, and the bread, to finishing off with a little bit of that closing. Good, so now it's your turn to practice on your own. As I mentioned before, the CELPIP has 2 parts of the writing. There is the first part, which is the email writing, and now it's the second part, which is task 2. And task 2 is a survey. So imagine if your company, for example, or someone is asking you what you think of a situation. So they're going to give you a situation, and then you have to write your opinion of what to choose, either A or B. Kind of like, your friend is asking you, should I get a hair color with blonde or brunette, whatever it is, and then you have to write, I think it's blonde because, and you want to explain why your friend wants to be a blonde. But they're going to give you a situation, and then you're going to write your opinion of why you think this is the right thing for someone to do. So that's why it's called a survey. Let's go into the example. So CELPIP survey question, which is the task 2. So you also have 25 minutes for this, and it is also 150 to 200 words. Your company is going to train all staff. One option is to do online training. The other option is to do combined training that includes online classes and traditional classes. Your manager wants your views, so this is your opinion. Option A is only online, only training, and option B is combined training. The situation is that you choose option A or option B. I'm going to give you an example, then we're going to do another example together. So let's get started. The general topic information and your choice of option is your first paragraph. So again, the information is first, and what is it that you are choosing? Are you choosing option A or are you choosing option B? So it still kind of has a little bit of that sandwich, but always in English we have an introduction and then body and then your conclusion. That's the way that we always learn how to write. If you're writing an essay, it's the same way. It's the same thing. Anytime that you start anything with writing, you need an introduction. Let's start, and I've underlined some things that you actually just have to memorize. It actually will help you when you're writing this test. First paragraph is, I appreciate being a part of our company's survey to either do online training or combined training that includes online classes and traditional classes. What you want to say is exactly the same of what they're asking. So your company is going to train all staff, and one option is to do online training, and the other option is to do combined training. In your first paragraph, that's your introduction. You want to give the situation, the facts, and you want to explain what is it that you are doing the survey on. So you start with, I appreciate. I just start with, I appreciate. I appreciate being a part of our company's survey to either do, and then just copy that situation, this or this. And that's your first sentence. And the second sentence, you can start with both options have some advantages. However, there are several reasons why I would choose option A. I just want to be soft here and say, both options, it's okay. Both options have some advantages, but I choose option A, and this is why I'm going to tell you why I'm choosing option A. I also gave you a little bit of different useful expressions that you can use. You can also start with thank you for reaching out. So you can start with thank you for reaching out to be a part of our company's survey. survey to either do online. Whatever expression that helps you to start, those are the expressions that you want to memorize, because you don't want to think while you're doing this test of what should I say, how should I start. And these are really great expressions just to use in your daily life, to write an email, to say thank you for reaching out, or I'm glad to express my view on blah, 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 A, B, or C. Now, the option A or B, of course, we're not going to in our daily life kind of say, but you could say if I had to make a choice, option A would be my preference. Nice and simple. If I had a choice, option A would be my preference, instead of both options have some advantages. However, there are several reasons why I would choose option A. It really depends of what you connect with and what you want to say. But you can actually say very easily that if I had to make a choice, option A would be my preference. Whatever it is, it has to be in the first paragraph. Your second paragraph is give details. Why? Why do you want that blonde hair? Why do you want that brunette? Why? Why do you want this option? My option is online training, online only training. That's the option that I chose, and that's what I want to give details of why I have chosen this online training. Let's start with your second paragraph, and that's a really kind of great little word that you can start to begin with. You can start with first of all. You can say firstly. Whatever you want, just that little connecting word to start the paragraph, to begin with. And now give your detail. We can do the online training whenever we have time. And now you want your details and your examples, whatever ideas that you have. If I have a heavy schedule one week, however, a light schedule the next week, I can delay the training until my schedule is not so busy. This would not be possible with a combined training because traditional classes have to take place at a set time. So my explanation here is that, of course, I want to do the online training. I don't want to do the combined training. And why? Because I'm flexible, that sometimes I have a busy schedule and I don't have time to have a set time to do a classroom. So very similar to what we're doing right now. You can pause, you can take a break, you can come back. You don't have to actually sit and do a class with a teacher. So when you explain this would not be possible with a combined training because traditional classes have to take place at a set time. And now your concluding sentence. And your concluding sentence is just to kind of finish it up. When you give a present to somebody, you want to just put a little bit of that bow and you want to tie it and you want to give it to them. So it's the same thing as a concluding sentence. This would surely provide convenience to our team, or this would be a great benefit for our team. Whatever it is, just to kind of conclude that. So we want to start with our topic sentence, and that's how a paragraph works. Topic sentence, details, example, and a little bit of that concluding sentence. Just wrap it up in that box, tie it up, and then your paragraph is finished. Now you want to do another paragraph. And how do we do another paragraph? How do we add information? Well, the same thing. Moreover. Now you can start with moreover, furthermore. And whatever your idea is. Moreover, having the flexibility to do an online course without physically being in the office can give us the freedom to complete our company's training even when we are not at work. Well, that's your idea. So you wrote that down. And what's the next thing that you want to give a little bit more information? An example is always great to create that picture. You're giving that detail. And now when you say an example, you can really visualize the situation. So for instance, or for example, when we are not feeling well, that's your example, that's your situation, when we're not feeling well. Or even traveling to a business meeting in another city. An online training course can be beneficial for us to complete wherever we may be. So you've given your idea that, of course, that you don't have to physically be there. That's another situation. Now you gave the example. Well, what about if you're sick? And your concluding sentence. And the same thing as a concluding sentence is, this would surely provide convenience to our team. This would surely provide something. That was your concluding sentence above. You also need that same concluding sentence, that same wrap, that same gift where you say, in closing, I believe using technology to match our daily responsibility of tasks can add value to our overall training experience. Whatever you want to say. In closing, doing online class can be done anywhere at any time. Whatever you want to say, just kind of close that up that you can give them that idea fully. And that's it. And now you just want to close the whole situation. So you started the situation by saying, I appreciate being part of our company's survey. And now just close up that whole situation and say, again, thank you for the opportunity to voice my opinion. And of course, I will follow our company's decision. It's nice, it's professional. You want to say, I'll follow any decision that you make. This is just my opinion. Again, it's soft, it's polite, and that's what I always want to guide you in. It's just being a little bit soft and Canadian. Dr. Bonnie Henry. Be safe, be kind, be good to each other. Good. The useful expressions that you can think of is in the introduction with, I appreciate being part of this, and then your explanation and details. Also, use some of these expressions. You don't have to use exactly what I say, but try to have these little connecting words. When you have these connecting words, you can really explain your idea better. I believe, for starters, firstly, it would be better to, in my opinion, on one hand, on the other hand, firstly, for one reason, the main reason is that some of these expressions you already know, and if you know those expressions, then just keep them in mind. When you're writing and practicing this by yourself, you can use some of these expressions and it would just come out naturally. When you're doing the test on the test day, it'll be faster for you to think of these words because already they are fresh in your mind. And also, there are some other words, adding more details. When you add more details, moreover, furthermore, on the one side, I think blah, blah, blah. However, on the other side, in contrast, for another reason. Finally, you can use that in your details when you're explaining to close it off. Finally, option A would be the best choice for us. I know that a lot of people, including myself, feel this. I'm worried that if. So all of these expressions you can use. I just gave you a little bit of an example of what I use, but whatever feels close to you and that you connect with, you can use as well. So that's one part of the survey, and I'm going to go through another example, and then you're going to be on your own, and then you can practice this type of a format. And you have all the words and all the expressions, and again, whatever you feel close to these little expressions to begin with, firstly, those expressions you can use and just memorize on your own when you're writing and practicing. So let's do another example, and we'll do it together, and try to think of your own ideas. What would you say? How would you express it? In the situation, it's an office party transportation. So they're going to ask you what you feel is best. What is the situation? Your company is planning a party to celebrate the end of the year. The party will take place at a location about 1 hour outside of town. The person organizing the party wants your opinion about the best way for employees to travel to the location of the party. Okay, so this is the transportation for the party. Think about your own ideas. What would you say when you have the option A, which is individual transportation? Workers should use their own transportation to travel to the place where the party will be held. That is going to be your individual transportation. So now think of some ideas come to your mind of what you think is the best way to do a transportation to an office party. Maybe it is to drive by yourself. Or should it be a group transportation, which is option B, that the company should arrange transportation to take workers to the place where the party will be held? Again, I don't know what situation that you are going to have, but it's always a very similar situation. You're going to receive the idea and then the option A or option B, and then you will have to choose which option is the right idea for you and what ideas that you want to express about it. So whatever ideas that you feel that's connected to you, that's what you want to write about. I connect to the group transportation. I chose option B. The first paragraph, you are going to tell your opinion about, for me in this situation, is about the option B. So the first paragraph is, I'm glad to express my view. And again, you can use a different way from before. In this situation, I'm going to also show you that it doesn't matter how you started. You can use it in different ways, whatever you connect with. In this situation, you can say, I'm glad to express my view on our office party transportation to celebrate the end of the year, to either have individual transportation or group transportation. Again, you want to say exactly the same thing that is already said in the first paragraph. The first paragraph says that your company is planning for the celebration at the end of the year, and the party will take place at this location. Repeat exactly the same thing that's already given you that situation. I'm glad to express my view on our office party transportation to celebrate the end of the year, to either have individual transportation or group transportation. And now you start with, if I had to make a choice, there are several reasons why option B would be my preference. What I did is, those useful expressions that I gave you, I changed it. I wanted to see that there's different ways of using the expressions, and it's whatever that you connect with, whatever that you can remember, is the way that you can write this and practice this. So if I had to make a choice, there are several reasons why option B would be my preference. If I had to make a choice, there are several reasons why option B would be my preference. And now the second part we know is your details. Why do I want group transportation? Why do I want the company to arrange this? So again, think about your ideas and then you can write them down. You can start to begin with, for starters, and now your idea. Our team members can all be together in one vehicle to connect during the drive and get to know each other more. That was my idea, and now I want to give more ideas. Now I want to give an example. Really use your English skills, your language skills that you already have. Let them know, why do you think that being together in a vehicle that you can connect with each other is actually a great idea? I gave that vision. For example, when we are in the office, we're all busy with our tasks and don't have time to chit-chat about our daily lives. If we have group transportation, we can enjoy socializing before getting to the party. That was my idea, and the details of what I gave of why I think everyone should be together. You can say something else. You can say that we're together. For example, I don't see my colleagues every day, and because I don't see my colleagues every day, it would be wonderful for us to be all together in one place for the transportation. Whatever you want to say, just write down your ideas. You have lots of great ideas. Just write them down. And of course, after the paragraph, so we've got the idea, we gave details, we gave examples, and now that concluding sentence, that present that you just want to tie everything up, and you want to say, this will surely provide a fun time for all of us, or this will surely be a memorable experience that we will never forget. Whatever you want to say, just put that concluding sentence. Paragraph always consists of topic sentence, details, example, and a concluding sentence. And that's what is a paragraph. It's the same thing with math. A plus B equals C. It's an equation. It's the same thing for a paragraph in English, that you start with the introduction, the topic sentence, detail, example, concluding sentence. And that format is actually really important, or you can use it anytime when you're writing something, just in general. You start with something, you give more details, perhaps you want to give a little bit of that, an example, and then that concluding sentence where hopefully this will work out, hopefully this will be a great situation. Whatever it is, just that concluding sentence to know that you've finished and you can move on to the next paragraph. And here is another paragraph. So we got the first paragraph and now we have the second paragraph. And the second paragraph is moreover. Again, we want to add that information. Moreover, I believe a lot of people, including myself, would enjoy the comfort to know that at the end of our party, we don't need to worry about getting back home. We can enjoy our time together without coordinating how to get our own transportation. Again, more details. Having that peace of mind will definitely add to our experience of celebrating our hard work during the year. Whatever you want to say, you want to add that idea, that situation, that we don't have to worry at all. If we have transportation, we don't have to coordinate. So I just kind of gave those details and that information. And now I've given the details, I want to wrap it up into this nice little present and your concluding sentence. This would mean we can all appreciate the time being together. Or this would mean we can all relax and have a good time. Whatever you want to say, just concluding sentence. And then that's it. And then the survey is over. And now we want to just close it off. The same thing as feel free to let me know if you have any questions. We just want to close it off is that you just want, like, thank you for asking me to be a part of this survey. Thank you for actually even doing this survey. Thank you for this opportunity to give you my opinion. I trust that your final decision will be one that benefits us all. Again, you can use whatever you say. I trust that your final decision will be a great benefit to us. Whatever you want to say, just to kind of wrap everything up, because now then it will be a survey that you've started with saying that you're glad to be a part of this survey. Then you talked about your details of why you think that option A or option B is great for you. You organized it into 2 paragraphs. You started with one idea, then you gave a moreover idea, you gave another idea, and then you closed it off to say thank you very much for asking me to be part of this survey. But you want to just kind of say it a little bit in different words, just to show a little bit of your language ability. I appreciate being a part of this survey, or thank you for this opportunity to give you my opinion, whatever it is, just to kind of close it off. And then now it is your survey. And now this word count is 200. So you don't actually have to say all these things. You can avoid the example as long as you have the format and the idea and that structure, so it'll be easier for you to write while you're at the test.